You're listening to a Life in Quebec podcast. For more, visit lifeinquebec.com.
I'm joined now by Steve Hogarth, the lead singer of Marillion. Steve, thanks for speaking to lifeinquebec.com.
Pleasure to be with you.
So, you're coming to Quebec again in November as part of your North American tour. Why do you guys like coming here so much?
Love that sort of French part of Canada as much as it loves us, I suppose. It's a reciprocated thing. Well, when I joined the band in 1989, 27 years ago now, one of the first things they said when we got around to touring was, "Oh, wait till we go to Montreal, oh, wait till we go to Quebec." And I didn't really understand the enthusiasm or why it was like that until we got up there, of course.
Yeah.
And there's just there's a vibe for it. There's just such an amazing warmth.
Why do you think there's such a special rapport with the fans here in Quebec? Why do you think that is?
I think there's still a feeling in that part of the world. There's a sort of, I mean, we're talking about part of the world that spawned Cirque du Soleil, and I think there's a feeling for the kind of the arty, hippie, trippy kind of side of music, maybe, rather than just it, pop. And of course, your part of the world is home with Joni Mitchell and Leonard Cohen, and I mean the real proper great sit down, forget it artists of our time, in contemporary music terms. So there's just a very, very rich seam of what you might call high art as far as contemporary music's concerned. The high art comes from your part of the world.
It seems like you've almost been adopted as a Quebec band. That's the impression I get anyway. And
it could be no greater compliment.
That's a wonderful thing to say. How does your relationship with the Quebec or with an audience in Quebec province compare to other parts of the world? Is it particularly special here, or do you get that in other countries, in other parts? Or?
There's a great warmth. I mean, just a phenomenal warmth in Quebec and Montreal. That is its own thing. And I don't know if it's the French thing, because we experience a similar passion in France too. In the old country. When we play Paris, or if we play Nice or Montpellier, or Lille, it's always amazing. But there's another thing again in your part of the world, and I experience it. I'm grateful for it, but if I could define it, that might not be a good thing. You're sometimes better off feeling your way than knowing it. It can pollute it by understanding it.
Fair
You've just got to let it happen.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going on there.
Oh, your shows are sellouts here. All the ones since I've been here 8 years, and you've been here 3 times, and each one was a sellout. It's fabulous.
But a sellout's just numbers. At the end of the day, it's what happens in the room. Whether it happens with 10 people or 10,000 or 2,000. It's what happens.
Yeah.
It's that's what matters, not the numbers. And what happens in Quebec is always truly extraordinary. I remember our last show. What was the name of the gig we played last time?
It was the Festival d'été in 2014, the Quebec Summer Festival.
Oh, well, that was fantastic. And that was busy. That was really busy. I think we ran out of room, and people ended up having to watch it on screens in neighbouring sort of parts of town.
That's right. It was a lockout. There were people standing on the road. Yeah.
That was amazing.
You've got a new album coming out, and the Quebec shows and the North American tour. Are you going to be playing a mixture of material from the new album and some of the old favourites, or how's it going to work out?
I think we're still thinking through the whole of the North American set at the moment. We haven't pinned it down, but we did actually take a bit of the brilliance of the internet is that you can actually take a sort of a reading of what people would most like to hear. And that quite often surprises you, because the things you think you're going to get, the Kayleys and the Incommunicados is sometimes scraping in at number 37
right
on the list. And, this strange engineering sounds that can't be made is coming in at one, you know.
Yeah.
So we did a bit of a poll, and Lucy made a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
We're really high tech. It's all on Excel spreadsheets, and we, you know, and then we have a look at it, and various members of the band go, "Oh, I don't want to play that. I'll play that. Oh, I don't want to do that." And so once we've got through all of that, we make a set list which is based on what members of the band want to do, but also what we know there's a thirst for.
So I suppose you've all got your personal favourites then as well, haven't you? That you want to play and that you want to sing.
Yeah, we all have our own. I mean, you know, obviously, Ian, our drummer, he's very focused on the dynamic stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so if it was up to him, he'd play Slange for the rest of his life. That's harsh.
He's not listening.
And you know, and Rothers wants the ones with the most solos in, and Mark wants the ones with the most interesting chords, and
Mm-hmm.
I want the ones with the most interesting words. You know, so there's always a bit of a to-ing and fro-ing.
Yeah.
But we've written so much stuff that, you know, we can't no matter how we try, how hard we try, we can't help but find common ground, because there's so much common ground there to choose from.
Yeah.
We're going to play at least two new songs.
Oh, good.
We're already playing New Kings at the shows in Europe, which is the only new song we've managed to get into the live show yet. At 16 minutes, there's only so much you can do in a way, because otherwise it's all over the show. We're looking at working up El Dorado as well for the North American shows. We might even have a knock through Living in Fear as well.
Oh, good.
But when you've got a 2-hour show, you've got to sort of try. I mean, we could go out and play the whole of the new album, leave a lot of people very confused.
Yes.
So that's not the intention this time. I know we have done that in the past, but I think it'll be New Kings, El Dorado, maybe Living in Fear, and then a sort of broad sweep of what we've been up to these last 30 years or so.
Now you've got the new album is coming out, Fear. Where did the inspiration?
It's actually called Fuck Everyone and Everyone.
That's where I was going. I was going to say to you. I was going to say, where did the inspiration for that title come from? That was you've beat me to it.
It came from the banks, you know, and the spectacular collapse of the Western economic system a few years back.
Right.
And the fact that the people who presided over that disaster all promptly got in helicopters and moved to Monaco, and left the poor old taxpayer to endure the austerity and pay all the money back
Yes.
that they'd gone off with. I mean, the financial sector is one of those few areas where you can preside over the destruction of billions and billions and billions of pounds, be given then tens of millions or you know, $500 million yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As a reward for having done so that you can then disappear into the sunset with it. Amazing. So that feeling has inspired this record to some extent.
So, in terms of the new album, then, where do you guys think it rates compared to the 17 other ones that have come before it?
I think we're all gonna step back and give it a couple of years before we can know, but the gut feeling in the band is that it might be our best work. We've said that before, but then this came later, so maybe it is. I get the feeling that it's there with Brave and Marbles. I think everyone in the band is of the opinion that it's our perhaps most musically and lyrically cohesive work. There's a lot of melody and there's a lot of great musical moments in it, even though it's not 3-4 minute songs. It's big sprawling things.
Yes.
People are telling me they're the best words I've knocked out for a while. It's a protest album, so you know I was quite angry about it, writing it. But it's not a preachy record. It's just me saying this is my window on the world. This is what the world's doing to me right now. This is particularly what England is doing to me right now. Have you ever thought about this? Because I'm worried. I suppose that's the best way I can sum
Well,
up.
that's fine. Once it comes out, we'll have a listen, and we'll obviously the audience out there and the fans out there will decide whether it's for them or not. This one's out on vinyl as well. Why vinyl?
Well, the kids are digging vinyl. My daughter and her boyfriend listen to nothing that ain't on vinyl anymore, and that's beautiful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd actually forgotten, although I'd grown up with it. I'd forgotten what it's like to put a stylus back on top of a record and watch that electromechanical process happen. And there is something beautiful about it, and there's something much more beautiful about it than sticking a CD in a little slot and watching it disappear, and then hearing that kind of... Neil Young once said that he could hear the zeros in between the ones, or so. He could hear the digital gaps. Of course, Neil's a bit mad, so that doesn't mean it's true. But vinyl's a lovely thing, and it's a real thing. Digital is great up to a point, but it is not quite real, is it? You lose something depending on the sampling frequency. You lose less and less as the sampling frequency goes up and up. But unfortunately, the CD medium didn't go up far enough, really, and it could now.
Yeah.
You get stuck with these formats that you can't get out of for economic reasons.
So you've got vinyl there, but you guys also are one of the big bands out there that have embraced the online side of things. You deal direct with the fans for album sales and merchandising. Why choose that route?
It chose us, really, in many ways. We invented crowdfunding. We were the first band in the United Kingdom, to my knowledge, who even had a website. So we sort of spearheaded a lot of online, the sort of social media aspect of what online could be.
Yes.
Was realised by certain members of this band, cleverer than me, in the mid-90s. And we got onto it. And what happened was that someone in America, go with the French name, actually, Jeff Pelletier, we told the fans that we weren't going to tour in the States. And he opened a bank account, and he put a message up on an internet notice board. And he said, if anybody wants to see Marillion play in America, send us some money. I've opened a bank account, here's the details. And all this money came in. And we didn't know anything about this. We were totally ignorant of it until they'd already got $20,000 or $30,000 in the bank. And we thought, holy shit, this internet thing's the future. We better find out how it works and what's going on. And not only that, but our fans are more dedicated than we even ever suspected. And this could be a sort of a perfect storm of technology and faith that could work for us. We were also frustrated that although we never had any trouble getting record deals, we sometimes suspected the motives of the people that were bursting to give us record deals, because they'd give us whatever, they'd give us 50,000 quid.
Yeah.
To make a record, we'd make a record, we'd deliver it to them, and they'd put, 250,000 quid in the bank 6 months later.
Yeah.
And we thought, well, you can see why they'd want to do that, but that's not necessarily the right reason for offering us a deal. If we could avoid going to labels and using them as banks, and actually just make a record, and then go to a label who we really felt was excited by that record and wanted to work on it, that would be a better way forward, and so that's really how it came about.
Well, it certainly appears to be working. Now, the next album that's coming out, Fear, you said the title earlier. What was it again? Just remind me, I daren't say it.
Fuck everyone and run.
Now, it's your 18th that's out there, and you guys are still going strong. What do you put the band's longevity down to? What's your secret?
Well, if we knew that, we'd have done it twice as hard. I don't know. I don't know what the secret is. We all five of us consider ourselves extremely privileged to be in the position we're in. Without the fans, of course, you're done, you're finished. So we always have to thank the fans for standing by us. As Bono once said, we've tried our best to shake them off over the years, and they're still there. And I think any truly creative unit will always represent a challenge to its fans, because you want to keep moving on. There'll always be a number of fans who wish you'd stay the same, and when you don't, they always feel disappointed, and you lose them. Well, but our fans have stuck by us, you know, and they've sometimes put our new record on and thought, what on earth? But it's about playing it that extra 10, 20 times until you go, oh, I get it. That's what they're doing. That's, you know, woo. And provided what you're saying is honest and true, then where you've gone with it and why you've moved becomes less of an issue. It's the truth that remains the issue, and the honesty that rattles people. I think people can smell truth. I've often said that. You can sniff truth and you can sniff fakery.
Yeah.
And truth will always move you more than fakery. So it's not about keeping things the same, it's about keeping things true.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Look, Steve, thanks for speaking to Life in Quebec, and all the best for the upcoming tour, and we're looking forward to seeing you in Quebec City.
It's always a privilege to talk to Quebec. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's wonderful, Steve. Thanks so much.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you for listening to a Life in Quebec podcast. For more news, editorials, and opinion, visit lifeinquebec.com.